Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. If you are returning, thanks so much for your continued viewership. Would that be the
And
right
support
and support. Yeah, we need all the support we can get. So
we do.
hopefully you got a chance to watch last week's. We got some really cool stuff coming up. Today's episode is top news stories for the last couple weeks. We've had a lot of stuff happen.
Quite a bit, up to include the State of the Union address.
Oh boy,
man, that was fun.
Yeah, there that was.
Yeah,
and stick around for tomorrow's episode. Is what? Outspoken Men's Edition.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So we've got a double header this week.
Yeah,
so
totally forgot about that.
Yeah, make sure you stick around for that.
Yeah.
So anyhow, let's get into the top news stories. You ready to go, Joe?
Let's do this. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. All right, everybody, welcome back. Here we go. We've got a lot of things to cover today.
Yeah, quite a bit.
So we'll get going right away with some of the stuff that's going on. So this last week we had the Oscars that just passed Sunday, March 10th, and prior to that there was street art exposing LA and the country's fentanyl crisis. It was displayed next to LA landmarks such as the Academy of Arts and Sciences, Cantor's Deli, Dupar's Restaurant and Bakery, Andre Blase's Chateau Marmont. I know you.
I quite frequent Chateau Marmont.
Been there a bunch of times. And the Capitol Records Building. So the artwork has featured folks like President Joe Biden, California Governor Gavin Newsom, Joseph Stalin, Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell, and Senate candidate Adam Schiff, and Chinese dictator Xi Jinping. So they were all prominently featured on the mural artwork, and the artwork seems to have been placed by an artist named Sabo. And you can see his artwork over at unsavoryagents.com.
That's so funny.
But yeah, it was
I did see that that artwork. It was like on benches and some other stuff, and I'm like, who is that? Then I went to the next picture, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so funny. But yeah, you're right. There is a crisis going on, and no one's really paying attention because we're too busy giving all our hard-earned tax money to Ukraine. You know what I mean?
Foreign countries. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, when we
have what's that thing they said? Like if we could afford to give money, we're paying too much taxes.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's crazy. So this artist went out there and did this, right ahead of the Oscars, so everybody could witness and see what's going on. You've got all these people that are really, think about it. I mean, movie stars and big musicians and stuff that go to the Oscars and everything. Well, they are, but they're very influential, and all of them have money. And why aren't they trying to do anything about it? They ain't doing it.
Well, come on. Are these the same people that talk about the environment, but yet are flying all over the place in their private Lear jets? Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hypocrisy at its best.
So yeah. Anyhow, write your favorite movie star or whatever and tell them to get off their butts and get stuff going. So, all right. So next story in the news is the House Energy and Commerce Committee, led by Chair Kathy McMorris Rogers, a Republican from Washington, passed a bipartisan bill on Thursday that could force ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, to sell the video sharing platform or face a ban in the United States. The bill was first introduced in the House on Tuesday by Representative Mike Gallagher, Republican of Wisconsin, and Representative Raj, and I'm going to destroy this last name, Krishnamurthy, Democrat of Illinois, and it's referred to as the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act.
Is there an acronym for that, man? That is, I can't I say that 3 times really quick. I can't do that.
PAFACAC, something
Bro,
like that. So,
you can't say that.
Pressure to regulate TikTok has been mounting in the last year since FBI Director Christopher Wray testified before Congress that the app is a tool for the Chinese government and it, quote, screams out with national security concerns. So, my thing on it, all these kind of apps and devices and everything, we could yell at them all and say they all can be compromised, right? The thing me personally, that I don't like about TikTok, and we got a story a little bit later on, and it's not so much just geared. This opinion isn't geared just towards TikTok. It's towards all social media, media in general. I mean, CNN, Fox News, all these different companies that have so much influence over our, people's minds, and especially the youth.
Here's the thing though, Jay. I'm not gonna. Yeah, the youth is an issue, but I'm not gonna blame TikTok. There's parents out there who lack that responsibility of getting in there and saying, "Hey, you're not gonna see that. You're not gonna use that." I did that with my kids. And I'm like, "No, you're not watching that," and I'd shut it off or tell them, if I catch you doing that, the TV is gone.
Right.
We have to give the parent. It's funny because when we have certain issues in schools, parents want to be involved and like, it's my responsibility. You can't take that from me and blah, blah, blah. But then when it comes to things like that, they're like, very lenient.
Right.
One of the biggest things for me,
it's the thing's fault, not my governance of my own children.
But seriously, that goes for both parties. We could go back to the whole thing about the 2A. Like, well, is it the gun's fault or is it the user's fault? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing that we're going to apply with this TikTok. Is like, hey, if it's a bad thing, but here's the problem. The parents are in there as well. They're in there jumping in there doing their little tickety talks as well, and
tickety talks.
It's the Mexican version. But I can't really sit there and blame the kids. Kids are going to do whatever they do. You were a kid. We always see how far we could push that envelope right before we get our butts whooped.
Yeah,
but that's what we
tried
did.
to avoid that at all costs.
We did, but ultimately we got caught.
That's part of the problem, is that they don't have a fear of authority nowadays. Yeah,
there's none.
Well, so I think back. So even nowadays, people know who Ozzy Osbourne is, right? I was never a huge fan of his or anything, but we all listened to some of his music back in the day, and of course he came from Black Sabbath, which was a very popular band going far enough back. There was some controversy with him that kids that are listening to his music are going to start biting the heads off of bats because he did this at a
But that was accidental. People don't know that. They thought it was real, that he did it intentionally, but they said he threw it. He said, I thought it was rubber, and he went to bite it. It was like, it was a real bat. But
the thing that's silly about that is there's imagine the millions of people all over the world that have bought Black Sabbath and or Ozzy Osbourne albums. How many of those people have become these terrible murderers? And listen, I'm not a huge fan of his or anything at all, so I'm not promoting him whatsoever. But how many of those people have become murderers, bad eaters, all these kind of things? Probably very, very few. And the one or two that did, I don't think it had anything to do with him. They are just kind of, kooky to begin with. So yeah, parents need to watch their kids. I mean, I was a heavy metal kid when I was younger, and I didn't
approve of that.
Yeah. I remember you rocking out to some of that.
That's right, brother. But no, but if you're going to sit there and think about it, like every app has the potential to be a security concern. Every app, you know what I mean? We don't
absolutely. Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Innocent Instagram can become
right. But here's the thing. People say like, oh, the TikTok that they do in China is all about educational, blah, blah, blah. The one here is all. I'm like, well, stop feeding into it.
That's,
what I mean?
100%
It's like, oh my God, I'm so fat. Well, stop eating 5 cheeseburgers. You know what I mean? That's how am I supposed to help you with that? You know what I mean? It's just, people have to understand, like, yes, there's going to be all kinds of bad things out there, but it doesn't mean you have to go do it.
That's right.
Right. You have to have some self-control. So yeah, I'm not blaming Tickety Talk on that.
Tickety Talk. All right. So moving on, we have New York is sending the National Guard to NYC subways after a string of violent crimes. New York Governor Kathy Hochul said she will deploy 750 members of the National Guard to help the police conduct random searches of bags for weapons following a string of crimes on the city trains. Just a couple weeks ago, a subway conductor had his throat slit. So really,
they've been attacking a lot of the police down there.
Yeah,
and I think the mayor is finally stepping up and saying that, you know what, if you illegal immigrants continue this, we're going to move you from a 5-star hotel to a 4-star, and I think they're going to get punished with this 4-star, and they're going to stop. I think they really are.
That mayor's Oh, man. So
He's a dingleberry.
On January 24th, Holtrell stated defunding police era is over. This comes literally only months after Mayor Eric Adams stated in November that NYC will reduce its police force down due to budget cuts. According to the city's new fiscal plan, the next 5 police academies will be axed as of end of 2023. So
here's the thing, man.
Crazy.
You're not doing nothing but impacting the citizens of New York City, endangering,
that's right.
putting the lives of those police officers in danger, because now they have no backup. The backup is slow to arrive because they're way across the other side, and the 3 or 4 additional units that were covering that beat have been removed because of the cut. So now you got one 2-officer patrol in a 5 square mile radius, and by the time he gets there, it might be too late. So but again, man, this is what happens when you got these very progressive left ideologies going on, thinking that, hey, look, the cops are the problem and we're going to stop funding them. And you know what? And here's the thing, ever since we've seen these issues with law enforcement, and hey, man, there are people just like the rest of us, right? People stress out in every job. But instead of like punishing the entire force, why don't you invest more money and create programs to help them?
Yeah.
Just kind of like we should have more programs to help our vets coming back from war.
That's 100%.
But no, they want to just cut the funds and say, nah, let the people suffer. You know what I mean? Ridiculous. That's why. I think everybody from California should move to New York. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Yeah, we're good. Just swap.
Just trade states and see how that works for you.
It'll be fine.
Well, on a little bit more sour note here, they had 8 suspects recorded the abduction and torture and rape of Alabama mother prior to a killing. The young Alabama mother was abducted before being tortured, sexually assaulted, and killed by a group of 8 suspects in a horrific attack recorded by the perpetrators.
Weird. Never heard anything about that.
Yeah. Videos obtained by the Birmingham Police Department show Mahogany Jackson, she was 20 years old, being beaten and forced to perform sexual acts at gunpoint. Detective Mark Green testified in court on Monday. The police chief, Scott Thurman, said the alleged action of the group were some of the worst he'd seen in his entire career. So, yeah, the one reason we kind of bring this up was that it was such a horrible thing, but also, just like Joe said, why don't you hear anything about it? Well,
let me guess. Are the suspects black?
Every single one of them was.
Go figure.
Yeah,
that's why we're not hearing about it.
And regardless, I don't care what color the people were that committed it. They're all dirtbags, and I hope they,
Oh, it's a horrific crime, but but come on, man. If it
was a bunch of white dudes, it would be slapped all over the media. It was a racial thing and everything.
It's very sad to see any loss of life anywhere. But when the media, and let me just point this out, man, the media is going down the tubes fast, right? They've been doing cuts in media. They've been, cutting reporters and things like that because people are so focused on individuals are just doing news by themselves. They're going out there and doing the stuff that the media used to do when they used to do honest reporting, right?
Yeah.
Now they don't do that.
Well, it's the reason that people like Joe Rogan and like Russell Brand, man.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's done a whole 360,
dude. And he is like, if you ever watch his shows, for anybody that's out there that doesn't know who he is, he was a comedian, movie star,
drug addict.
Yeah, and he turned
womanizer.
Yeah, and he really
non-believer of Christ.
Yeah, and he has been like totally turning the page on everything that he believed in originally, and he does a lot of research on stuff. And
he's very smart. If you listen to him,
he's very smart.
Very smart.
He is, and he got a lot of heat for going against Big Pharma, right? So,
wow.
So yeah. Anyhow, but on a little bit, not so much a lighter note, but a goofy note, because we got flipping Mitch McConnell. He just endorsed Trump. Did you hear about that? This guy is always he's desperate to be on the winning team.
I swear that one time I thought he was having a stroke while he's standing there.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm like, anyone gonna step in there?
Anybody gonna step in? Because he's gonna just fall over. And
I thought the teleprompter stopped.
Yeah,
I'm like, he's just like, is he waiting for somebody?
He was.
Look, man, I shouldn't be laughing. but
yeah, it's
that
going
dude's
to
a
happen to us
rhino.
one
That
day.
dude's a rhino.
Oh, yeah. Well, in a remarkable turnaround from a one-time critic who blamed President Trump for a disgraceful acts in the January 6th Capitol protest, but now supports his bid to return to the White House, right?
He doesn't want to get fired, bro.
Right. The two men have not spoken since 2020 when McConnell declared Biden the winner of the presidential election and jumped on the Joe train for the next 4 years. So,
Not this Joe.
not this Joe.
The bad Joe.
Yeah, the bad Joe. The band Joe.
The band Joe.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, for those of you out there still wearing masks, Friday is your last day for the U.S. consumers to place mail orders for your COVID test. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Friday. That's today. So get those orders in. Get those masks on. All right. And get the bubbles back out.
Here we go. All right.
Oh, and they're free. FYI. Thought I'd throw that in there.
So on Thursday that just passed, March 7th, Sweden joins NATO.
To do what?
And yeah, who knows? Ending the neutrality of post-World War II and becoming the 32nd member of the One World Government Membership and Global Bullying Club. Finland was number 31. So, you know, these countries up in the north there that are, what are they really close to? Russia, maybe? Yeah, they're really close to Russia. So
that's why we're taking them in.
Oh, man.
You know what I would love to see?
Because they can't get Ukraine in there. You
know what I'd love to see is when, of course, President Trump comes back into office, that we just leave NATO.
Oh, yeah.
And just leave it. And just like, what happened? Because all it is like all these little kids coming to Big Brother and just get, hey, let me borrow a quarter. Hey, let me borrow this. Let me borrow that. That's all we are. We're the World Bank. We don't need a World Bank because we already are the World Bank. Yeah. I think we should exit NATO and start our own organization.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know what it's called.
Well,
it's going to be called USA, baby.
Unfortunately, the U.S. was the starter, the darn thing to begin with. So
yeah, but we also take the majority of the role in that.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
I am too. Well, Trump has been a critic of NATO since it's his first days in office. He never gave a word to quit NATO, but the alarm bells have been going off for a Trump second term that might again entertain leaving the 75-year-old organization. NATO was founded by the U.S., Canada, and several European nations to provide a collective security against who? The Soviet Union.
Post-Cold War.
Yeah. No? So the Soviet Union has been defunct for over 33 years since 1990.
What?
Defunct.
Oh, God, I heard the wrong thing.
For over 33 years since 1991. That was back when president at the time, Mikhail Gorbachev. And do you know he passed away in 2022 just recently?
No way.
I didn't hear about it. Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Doing a little bit more research on this whole thing, I found that out.
What was that birthmark he had? Was it like the Alaska or was it islands? He had the thing that looked kind of the U.S.
I think everybody like cartoon artists would always paint it as something else. Now, because of we'd probably make it a commie California on his head or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's crazy.
But Gorbachev, was over the Soviet Union at the time. He was the last president over the Soviet Union before it
collapsed,
went under. Yeah. And at the time, then President Ronald Reagan did the unthinkable in December of 1987, signing a landmark treaty limiting intermediate range nuclear forces after almost 40 years of Cold War tension. So just some interesting stuff going on there.
I think we need to leave NATO.
Yeah.
We need to start our own little club. Come on. I don't want to be in the same club Trudeau's in.
Oh gosh, no. Well, and NATO's kind of useless now because it was formed for us and the European nations to kind of fight against that,
kind of like he got
Soviet
rid of
bloc, and
kind of like he got rid of NAFTA. He needs to get rid of NATO.
Yeah, NAFTA was
NATO. We're
garbage for the U.S.
Oh yeah. So. Plus, come on, man. If you look at NATO, who contributes more as far as soldiers, equipment, money? It's the U.S. I'm tired of giving money. I don't got money, and they're giving it to everybody.
Especially money. That's the whole thing. It's like, if you guys can just print it, why do you need our tax dollars for it? Just saying. So, also this last week, I'm sure you guys have seen on the news or read a horrible thing going on in Texas, the Smokehouse Creek fire that started February 26th. It burned through the Texas Panhandle for Well, it's been like 2
2
weeks now. Yeah.
Oh.
It's the largest wildfire in the Lone Star State's history. The fire was ignited by power lines from the Xcel Energy Company, a Minneapolis, Minnesota-based company that's been in Texas for over 100 years.
Damn.
2 people lost their lives. Millions of acres have been burned so far. Thousands of animals dead, and at least 500 structures have been destroyed. Fire Chief Zeb Smith, he was 40 years old, died in a structure fire. It was unrelated to the fires, but from the Fritch Fire Department, they were talking about that. But still, everybody was overtaxed over there, having to deal with all the different fires going on.
That's crazy.
Down power lines are to blame for other major wildfires, such as the deadly blaze in Maui last year and the massive California wildfires in 2019. So my question to this whole thing is like, when are they going to start holding these companies accountable for their power lines and everything else?
That's a big power companies, man. They're in the they got those
politicians in the pocket. Politicians in the pocket.
Remember, those are the power companies, oil companies, big pharma, all them, man. They got that. They got all them politicians in them pockets getting greased down. You know what I mean? How do you think that bartender? What's her name? AOC. She's only supposed to be
the world's most expensive and stupid bartender.
She was supposed to. They only make like 130 or 140, something like that. She's like millions now worth. I'm like, what is she doing? How she get how much? Like, what is she investing in? And no one's telling me about this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's corruption.
Well, if you want to invest,
but Mr. Trump getting indicted, the guy that came out broke from being the president.
Yeah, if you want to invest in anything, just watch the people in Congress and invest what they invest in.
Follow Nancy. Follow Nancy.
Because they know things. Well,
alcoholic Pelosi. Follow her.
Yeah. So our thoughts, prayers, hearts go out to the folks in Texas right now. Hopefully, everything can get under control out there. And, you got to stay safe. That's the Lone Star State for a reason, man. Some strong people out there. So
yeah.
Everything's bigger in Texas, right?
So much stuff going on over there, man.
Yeah. So a little bit more in the news, and we're going to go over the State of the Union address here in a minute. But Biden catastrophe. Biden has recently been trying to attract Nikki Haley voters after a disappointing Super Tuesday for the Southern California governor.
All 20 of them?
All 20 of
nice.
them, yeah.
Yeah, good job with that.
Yeah. Biden stated Donald Trump made it clear he doesn't want Nikki Haley supporters. But Biden continued, I want to be clear there is a place for them in my campaign. Haley's campaign attracted anti-Trump Republicans looking for a more vanilla or center of the road candidate. Now that she's out of the race,
bro, did you just say vanilla?
Vanilla.
Is that a new name for a white folk?
Well, no, just like they're not going to step to the left or the right. They're just like, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We're just going to stay right here in the middle and kind of be okay with everything. It has nothing to do with why is it always a color thing with you, man?
Well, you said vanilla, bro. I don't know what you say. Center, the center of the
vanilla is a flavor, not a color. So.
Well, what color is vanilla? You can't have like a dark vanilla.
Well, a vanilla bean is very dark. Look at a vanilla bean. Here we go. Haley's campaign attracted anti-Trump Republicans looking for a more vanilla or center-of-the-road candidate. Now that she's out of the race, questions remain about whether her supporters will warm up to Trump before November or whether they will stick to their convictions and vote for Biden or a third-party candidate in the general election.
You know what? We don't need you. Go to Biden. Go to Biden. If you have to, if that's a decision you have to make, go to Biden.
I would agree.
You know what I mean? Like you've already seen what this country's looking like right now. If you don't go walk outside, go to like San Francisco, go to LA, go to New York City, go to any of these places, walk those homeless alleys of San Francisco full of fecal everywhere and drugs and all kinds of things. And you tell me how Joseph Stalin is doing as a president, man. And if we have to like try to make you come to, the now I didn't want to say to like the Trump side or the right side or to anything like that, but to at least a person that makes America first, puts America before anything else, before any war, before anything like that. Then you know what? Then just stay over there because I ain't wasting my time trying to convince these people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If you still have to think about it, you're the problem.
Well, it really raises the question, is Trump correct in saying those folks were not true Republicans or conservatives in the first place? Nikki Haley,
I don't know if I never
like
heard it.
is the least Republican candidate.
She's a plant.
She was just, I didn't understand why she was running at all as a Republican.
Do you know what's weird and obvious? It's kind of like, and this is what I don't want her followers, her supporters, because she's like those Joe Biden supporters. Like, you know, somewhere in there he promises things, right? But at the end of the day, he kept none of them, right? Nikki Haley lied about stuff. I've never said that, but we have video of her saying things that she said she never said. So these people are just liars.
Yeah, you know, back and forth.
Yeah, and if people are that naive, that ignorant, that blind, that deaf, that all that, then you stay on her side.
Right.
Go vote for Sleepy Joe. You know what I mean? Let me know how that goes for you.
Very, very sleepy. Well, talking about Mr. Sleepy Joe, we just had the State of the Union a couple evenings ago. So on Thursday, March 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he opened up with Donald Trump and he closed with Mr. Trump, saying, "My predecessor," never Trump's actual name. This was not a typical State of the Union. The speech with
no.
The speeches often are just a laundry list of, you know, accomplishments,
what they're going,
and equally long set of promises that, again, like Joe just said, usually aren't followed through with. Instead, this was Mr. Biden's framing the year, just as his White House and Wilmington-based advisors want, as a stark choice between two candidates. Biden's approval rating has dipped, with 58% of the country disapproving of the job he's been doing, with a mere 37% approving. I'm really curious on those 37% people. The polls,
it's probably the same people who've counted the mail-in ballots.
Yeah, no kidding. The poll helped show the extent to which Biden's reelection bid could rely on voters being motivated by their opposition to Trump rather than their enthusiasm over Biden's candidacy. Extremism in the country is the biggest fear at about 21% overall. For Democrats, it's 37% of the polling. So what's really crazy, and I'll put the whole thing up here and you can see, you know, they have been pushing, especially since January 6th, that extremism is the biggest problem in the country. And even Republicans are falling for it. Now, of course, Republicans are looking at it from the other side, you know, that Antifa and all this kind of stuff.
If anything, they're the ones who've had a higher level of extremism than like, I get, there was a lot of extreme right that went to the Capitol, right? But the majority of them were just walking through, were checking things out. There was no violence. They didn't set anything on fire. The actual
majority of people never even entered the White House, is what's crazy.
But there was no fires. There was no, it wasn't nothing crazy. If someone saw that, I think that was a video of this guy trying to break window and everybody like attacked him. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. You know what I mean? And you can't say that about Antifa. You can't say that about BLM. You can't say that about any of those.
Those
are all hate groups. Those are terrorist
that are like burnt.
They're not recovering. Philly and they're not recovering. Those places are done. They're
and
done.
Those and you know, you'd say, well, that was the darn Republicans too. No, every single one of those was a bright blue city, right? So, what's going on there? So anyhow, very interesting. So the issues on the poll that were brought up were extremism, the economy, immigration, crime, war, conflict, healthcare, the environment, mortality, inequality, abortion, public health, terrorism, education, and energy. Energy was like one of the bottom things, and it's crazy because you would think like in California that'd be a pretty high one, but extremism was one of the biggest.
They get the power from everyone else.
Yeah.
That whole abortion thing, that's another thing he brought up, Roe versus Wade. About the Supreme Court, and talk about bipartisan. That Supreme Court's doing an excellent job, I think.
So the Supreme Court, if you think about it, you've got 4 people in there, right, that are pretty hard to the left, if you were to look at it, and even them, they said, listen, this isn't right that we're going to pull a guy off a ballot for
the law is the law. The law is the law. The
right.
guy has never been charged.
No.
right? And because they have nothing, that law was very specific and has nothing to do with today.
No.
But they want to just apply it anyway. During the State of the Union, did you hear that man yelling? Remember Abby Gate?
Yes.
The father of Abby Gate he got arrested.
He got arrested.
But Abby Gate was killed during that horrible withdrawal of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And but he wasn't hearing it. He doesn't care about any of that. Didn't care.
Well, why did they arrest him?
For disrupting the State of the Union address.
Oh, so
for mocking him, or what did they say it was? It was a certain charge.
Okay, so here's my thing. Do you like Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG?
She's a little extreme for me. You know what I mean?
Me too.
Like it's like that one kid that goes to school dressed like a leprechaun. You know what I mean? Like, God, get over it, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you're overdoing it. Like,
same thing with me. I'm not for, not against her. I think she's kind of funny sometimes. She wore the mag hat and everything. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I have one.
But she was screaming in there, I mean, loud, and you could hear her. They didn't put her in jail.
No,
why not? So this is my thing.
She's a member.
Yeah, because she's a member of the special party, which is the government, right?
Yep.
So you're not part of the club, you get arrested. You're part of the club, you don't get arrested. So anybody that's out there saying, "Oh, you guys are conservatives, Republicans, you don't," well, you know what? If you're going to arrest that guy, you should have arrested MTG too. But they're not going to because she's in the club, right? So these are things
that's so annoying. See, that's the thing that annoys me. That whole yelling, like, you're supposed to be a professional. You're a representative of your state, like. And a lot of people in the politics don't like him, but Matt Gaetz, that guy,
I love
like
that.
Those are the young Americans that we need in there, and he's that guy. He is very passionate when he has an argument, but he doesn't scream and yell and do all that stuff. And
he's extremely smart.
That guy,
if you don't like him because of his politics, that's one thing. But
dude's smart. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, you can't deny that he's. So, kind of going back to what you were talking.
I date him.
All right, the podcast's over. I'm getting jelly now. So, all right. So going back to what Joe was talking about, Senior Biden, and and when the Supreme Court said, we're not going to take Trump off the ballot, 0 to 9, we had episodes where we were talking about states that said, okay, you're going to do this to Trump, we're going to do this to Biden and try to take him off the ballot. And you can go back and look at it. What did we say? That's not right.
No, it's not
we don't want Biden in office. We don't like the guy.
Oh, we shouldn't do that.
But we shouldn't do that because that's not right. So that becomes this whole thing that's an issue right now, is that we have a one-sided political system. The entire DOJ, I mean, FBI, CIA, everything is being weaponized against anybody that is not of the current party. And I don't even want to say, man, it's even hard to say it's the Democratic Party anymore. It's like this crazy,
it's the progressive left.
It's the
crazy
progressive
folks.
Socialist, party. I mean,
they're crazy.
And the thing is that, everybody slaps around the old Nazi word so often, and those I know, I am too. But the thing is that party was the Socialist Party, right? So so if you don't see what's slowly happening and all these things that are very reminiscent of the late 1930s and 1940s, I mean, it's kind of the same stuff going on. So anyways, do your research, people. Read your own articles. Stop listening to CNN or Fox News, because
ABC, CBS,
guess what they
Rutgers.
do? They lie.
They all lie.
Yeah, NPR is like one of the worst, and it's supposed to be National Public Radio. We pay for it, and they lie about it. So there you go. Well, on some good news for us, the 2A people. South Carolina, we just talked about her a moment ago. The state of the former governor, Nikki Haley, just signed a law into bill allowing permitless carry. Governor Henry McMaster signed the bill last Thursday to become the 29th constitutional carry state. Technically, it's the 28th because Louisiana already signed it in, but it doesn't go into effect until July. So, yep, we've got a huge list, and we'll put it up here on the screen. All the states that you can go into. So
please move to one of these states. By the way, if you like 2A.
Yeah, if you
like your freedom.
And it's really, Really cool. There's also some things with getting a concealed carry permit and things like that most of these states all share reciprocity with one another, so you can use your concealed carry in the other states. Multiple states, yeah.
Not California. Don't go to California.
No, California is not on this list, surprisingly.
That's not surprising. That's crazy, but not surprising. Real quick, so the U.S. added 275,000 jobs in February, more than expected, but the unemployment rate continues to climb. So,
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of workers are quitting or being laid off. So
right.
That's just a little. So when he's talking about like we've added 207, yeah, but the unemployment is still climbing.
Well, the thing is we added jobs back that were eliminated from the whole time of COVID.
The COVID,
and the thing is, there's such a big deal brought up. Well, Trump was right at the end of that, and Joe Biden walked into this, and I will give him that he did walk in at a terrible time in the country. He did. However,
but you know what, Jay, let me tell you something about that. And I remember this. Everybody was giving Trump a hard time about he wasn't doing anything and all this blah, blah, blah. And he was trying to do his best to push these big pharmas to help with something.
Mm-hmm.
But, all the Democrats are like, he just sits there, he does not doing nothing and blah, blah, blah.
Well, they specifically said they weren't going to take any.
And, well, there's a thing. And now, if you listen to Joe Biden, he blames Trump for all of that.
Right.
Like, wait a minute. He was trying and you guys were like being like, it's like being back in like, not even high school, bro. Because in high school, at least we fought about things that were significant, like that girl, you know what I mean? But it's like junior high stuff, you know what I mean? And I just can't get over that with the politicians. These guys are supposed to be professionals, people that you respect, that are revered, and they're playing these games, bro. I'm so over politics. I really am. I'm like, I'm more about going to eat.
I tend to agree with that statement. So, because there was the, what was it when they said they needed the big hospital ships, one in New York and then one on the West Coast? The Mercy, and what was the other one? I can't remember the name of them. But anyhow, that Rachel Maddow girl got on there. She's like, it's going to take months and this and that. And like the next day it's pulling into port, and because Trump made a phone call,
That's probably his boat. He just painted it, bro. That's why he lost money.
Yeah. had to remove all the gold plate,
all the gold plate stuff, everything. He had to replace it with those stainless steel.
Yeah, military stainless steel.
Oh God,
jeez. As much as our soldiers go through, they deserve to be on gold toilets more than anybody else. So, and in a little bit of interesting news, this is something that most of us heard from way back in 2021. Hannah Gutierrez Reed, as she goes by now.
Isn't that armor from that movie that what was that guy? I forget his name.
Alec Baldwin.
That fool. That he shot somebody or something.
Yeah, it was called Rust. So the armor on set for the upcoming movie Rust was convicted of involuntary manslaughter last week after a shooting incident from.
She was,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
From a shooting incident from October 21st to 21 involving movie star and producer Alec Baldwin and cinematographer Helena Hutchins. And this occurred on set. Baldwin pointed a gun towards Hutchins for unknown reasons and pulled the trigger, firing a live round, one of a few found on set during the subsequent investigation. Baldwin has stated that he never pulled the trigger when questioned. Joel Souza, the film's director, was also injured in the shooting. Gutierrez Reed also had faced a second charge of tampering with evidence. Accusations were that she handled a small bag of possible narcotics to another crew member after the shooting to avoid detection. Gutierrez Reed was acquitted of the tampering charge. However, the involuntary manslaughter conviction holds a penalty of up to 18 months in prison and a $5,000 fine. Gutierrez Reed will be held in the Santa Fe Adult Detention Center until a sentencing date that is yet to be scheduled. Gutierrez Reed and her lawyers will be appealing the conviction. Baldwin was charged with involuntary manslaughter in January of 2023. However, the criminal charge against the actor was delayed when the charges were dropped a month later. Kind of crazy, huh? Baldwin was indicted for a second time January of 2024. Baldwin's trial is expected to start back up August 6th. Baldwin has pled not guilty to the newest charge. So I got a lot of questions about that whole damn thing.
Like, why would they have live rounds on set?
Yeah. Well, so you start thinking about, there's a lot of course, you run into all the conspiracy theory stuff, right? So why would there be live rounds on set? Why would you have this experienced girl? She's 26 years old. Now, not to say that age is everything, but if you look in the trial, right, she's got her hair, it's like normal color, it's like brown or whatever. Well, if you see the pictures of her from the actual shoot of the movie Rust, when everything was going down, she's got like blue and pink hair and everything. And so, these are all,
you've said enough.
These are all people that are anti-gunners. None of them like guns, yet they make a ton of money off of it in their movies, right? And
that's all of Hollywood.
And so one of the big conspiracy theory things is that Alec Baldwin had a problem with the cinematographer. Now, I'm not at all saying that there was a purposeful thing done or what have you, but when you start looking at putting a lot of things together, you have this girl that's super inexperienced, right? Doesn't have a ton of experience, who's very young. You have Alec Baldwin, they even show video of him being very forceful to everybody on cast. Get back to your things. Give me more ammo or give me more bullets or whatever to put in the gun to reload it so they can shoot again really quick. Now, I get it. Time is money on a film set. Totally understand that. However, this young girl may do prison time for what? For not doing her job.
Yeah.
Oh, what was her job? Her job was to say, stop. No, you put that weapon down. No, you do this and do that. So they knew they had somebody that they could push around. And at this point, so why is it that this girl's trial is done? She's been convicted. She's going to appeal it and everything. But why did all that happen? And now Baldwin's doesn't happen until August, right? So they're waiting so they could have this whole thing to say, see, it was her fault 100%. He's clear. Now, where is she at right now? She's in a detention center. Where's Alec Baldwin at? Probably at French Laundry, hanging out, having, expensive meals with Gavin Newsom and stuff like that in California. So
he's in that Chateau Marmont.
We got to visit that place, man. I just want to be able to say I've been to Chateau Marmont.
Yeah, that's where he's at right now. Chateau Marmont.
Don't ever do that again.
Sorry.
That's funny.
Oh man. Well, those are so not. That's what's happening across America today, folks, and that's crazy. This has been a busy week.
Yeah, there's a very busy couple weeks. Yeah. So we obviously pulled a couple things that were a couple weeks ago, but still kind of pertinent to everything that's been going on, and of course the just a few days ago the State of the Union address, which was just like, oh my gosh, I've never heard
him talking.
Dude, I've never heard anybody that like. It was basically his re-election campaign speech is all it was.
And I couldn't understand some of them though.
No.
And then he starts coughing, bro. He's hawking up there. I'm like, oh, easy. We're literally going to watch him die right now on TV. Like, this is crazy. Like, ouch. Someone help him. Like, there's a point, bro, where like, I don't like him because he's a dum-dum. And, people, they don't want to believe what they don't want to believe. It's funny because today's society, people oppose the truth. They don't like to hear the truth. But go back when he lied about his universities, when he lied about his studies.
Man, when he was like number one in the class.
Yeah,
when he
never went to. He had like you say, he had a doctorate, never had a doctorate. He was a big racist dude about division, or was it he was racist as hell.
Oh yeah, he didn't want his kids to go to school with a bunch of monkeys, is what he said.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
Like, but nobody remembers that, right? Everybody's like, he never said that. He had the worst, and he put together one of the worst crime bills ever that is impacted so many
people of color. Especially black people.
Well, but black people, that's really what it was. Not people of color. It was just most American, African-American people. because of his stupid crime bill, and he you won't get him to admit it. But
he's
people,
a dumb.
Apparently people have forgotten, right? All these crazies have all forgotten.
President's a turd bird.
Number one turd bird of the year.
He's the captain of the turd birds.
Man, I'm embarrassed for our nation because of that.
Yeah.
But
all right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I'm Jay, and that's Joe, and this has been Joe and Jay Outspoken News Network. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a this just in. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor, like, subscribe, comment, and share. That stuff all helps the channel grow. So we appreciate you guys. We've been getting some great comments and things, and tons of fun. We have a lot of fun doing this, but our biggest thing is to hopefully help out folks. Remember, tomorrow, Outspoken Men's Edition tomorrow. Don't miss it. If you have anybody if you know anybody that has kind of anything going on in their life, and maybe you're just checking on them and making sure they're okay,
or just men in general. Just men. We are misunderstood for so many years, and nothing to blame anyone, but that's just how we are, and we're talking about it, man. No one else talk about it. We are.
We're going to talk about it. So, yep. All right. Well, remember, everybody, take care of one another.
And as Americans, remember to do better, be better.
And as always, God bless America.
We'll see you later.
See ya.